Hi. Sorry we were a bit late. Sarah was out of the shop and waiting for her to come back because it was heaving. I had about 6 people in there at one time. 7 people. So, not that that's a complaint. You know me, I like to sell. So today, where are we? We're Thursday, the 1st of February. Oof. It's my wedding anniversary next week on the 6th. So I've got parcels arriving because I have wedding anniversary. Then we have Valentine's Day. So trying to come up with 2 ideas. I mean, why we thought it was a good idea 36 years ago, I don't know. I mean, they wouldn't let us do it on Valentine's Day. I thought we could get it out of the way all in one go, but no. So yes, so we're off to Paris. So the actual thing that I've bought in for wedding anniversary is going to be too big for me to take with me. Too big and heavy. So I think we'll have to do anniversary on Monday. Anyway, hiya Jean, Leslie, Natalie, Cheryl, how are you doing? Today we're talking about bag flaps. Now, most of you have been out there and made bags and stuff, and I'm sure you don't need me wittering on about it, but I just thought we'd go through something because I found a half-made bag and I thought I should finish that really. So I've bought you a few down. I'm doing it on the Josie bag, okay? Now the Josie bag is one that we've taken on Create and Craft a couple of times. This was the original. Okay, if I go to overhead, I didn't check all the things, so hopefully this is working. So the original one that I did, you know, when I'm working out the pattern and everything, I used an old pair of jeans. Now these were my favourite jeans and I didn't want to not use them. And we started with a piece that went over and you know, I've got a bit that clips here like that, and there's also a magnetic clasp in there, but it was a little bit of overkill, we felt in the end, but they're an ideal size. So this is the Josie bag. Okay, I've still got bits of all sorts of things in here. What's hand cream? Oh, and a hair clip. What have we got in there? Oh, tissues. We've got cards. Used to carry cards around with me. Oh, and a 10p. Oh, I'm rich. I've got 10p. So I used the back pocket of the jeans on the back, which fits my mobile phone lovely. And I used jean legs to do my bag straps and everything. So that was my original. Then we went on and we took, I've used scraps here, scraps of batik, obviously it's me, on there, and it was just to use up scraps of fabric that I quite liked. This one we used, this is Dragonfly Dance, I think, and we used a chambray, and we changed a few things about it. So we took away that strap and we used a turn clasp, which in some ways is a bit better because if you look at this one, you can see it's starting to pull away a bit from here. I've obviously not backed it well enough inside. I mean, I still love it. It carries my Kindle, fits in here. You know, a paperback fits in there quite nicely, and your purse is brilliant for holidays. But I think this one, my bag stuff hardware, is a bit heavy. It's quite a lightweight bag. So then I appliqued on it. Okay, it's a bit dirty, so I appliqued a bear. Now I love this bear. This is one of Sarah's appliques. You can see it's a bit dirty where I'm throwing it all over the place. I've got a magnetic clasp on this one, but this is a lot better. I've obviously, where I've appliqued this on, I've got a stiffer interfacing and stuff in there. It's a lot stiffer, so this is less likely to come out now because it'll have gone through a layer of interfacing on. It feels like it's on both the calico and this, so it's makes for a nice stiff front. Okay, so you can see the same bag, or I've changed the inside of the bag. I've put in rather than putting a pocket in, I've put a divider in, and there's a bigger pocket on the back with masks in. You can see how long it is since I've used this, so you can see just making those slight changes changes the bag. You know, you've got 3 different bags there, all the same pattern, just by changing the fabric that you use and the flap. Okay, so I had a half finished one in, and I thought I should finish that, and I will I'll make a different front. So I thought I would show you what I have, some of the ones that I have in mind. Okay, so all the bits are in there. This is the clasp I'm going to use. I've never used one of these before. Now I think it's you have to screw this off and then make the hole and put it through, and it's a turn clasp. Okay, so I'm hoping that this is all going to make sense. So let's have a look and see what you've all been. When are we going? We are going Monday night. We're flying out Monday night, Heather, and we are staying Tuesday, Wednesday to go in the park, Thursday, and we come back Thursday afternoon. So yes, it'll I'm really looking forward to it. Sarah came home so full of it that I thought, I want a bit of that. I want to see my girls at Disney now before they get too big. So we're doing it. Linda, how are you doing? I miss you today. It's strange being in the shop without you on a Thursday. I hope you're keeping your foot up. I don't know whether Sarah mentioned it yesterday, but Linda, would you like to tell the group what you did? If you kick your husband, it would be a lot less painful. Yes, you did, Jean. That was the first time I met you, I think, with the Josie bag. And yes, you can make it out of anything. Like I say, I used jeans, and you could pretty much make the Josie bag out of anything. Anything that's slightly stretchy, I would back it. Interface it. In fact, the pyjamas that I'm wearing at the moment, they're a bit small now, and I get all tangled up in them at night, and I'm thinking these would make a really good bear. So I might make a teddy bear out of my pyjama bottoms rather than just throw them out. So there you go. So no, you can't beat a bit of Disney. Right, so this was the flap that was ready to go. Okay, you can see it's exactly the same as the one on one of the others. It was obviously one of the last times I was due to go on Create and Craft, or Hochandra as it was then. I obviously had it all ready and waiting to go with it. I'm not going to show you how to make the bag because we could do that a later date over 2 or 3 thingies. Now this is part of the Jukamari, and just beautiful. And I had a piece because I'm going to make that vanity case. I'm going to use it on the top of that in my pattern. And I just thought, well, how would I jazz this up? So I thought if I followed these, but I'm not brilliant at it, or you could just scallop the edges, okay? You could do that all the way round. You could scallop the edges. I would probably go out a little bit bigger. So this would fit on like that. Okay, so these would stick out a little bit on the side. Like I say, this is just to go through the flaps. And then I decided I would stick one on my embroidery machine. So I embroidered this. It's actually too tight. I pulled the fabric too tight, so I'm not going to use this, I don't think, because it won't lie flat. I wonder if I was to quilt into it, it might sit better if I was to put like a quilt around it. But I thought I would change. I took out the template and I made it as small as I could, but it was still bits sticking out the sides. Can you see there? It's all sticking out the sides. So I thought, okay, so let's see if we can change it. So I've got another piece of paper and I worked out my middle of my pattern on my paper, middle of this, like that, and then made sure that I came around the sides, okay, like that. That pattern now is in the middle there. So I would pin that on there like that. Now I think what I would do is probably sew it with my backing and my backing and everything. I would sew it over the paper. So you want to put any wadding that you've chosen would go, if I do that one on the top, so you want your wadding down, then your inside like that, okay, iron those so that they're nice and flat. Then this one would then go on the top. Okay, now if you start with bigger, it's going to work better. Then I would put my pattern then on the top of this. Okay, so I would line up my middle line on my paper, middle line on my my pattern, line all those up, pin them all together. So you could do this. You draw your pattern onto tearaway, stitch and tear, and then sew through the stitch and tear, which would give you a bit more padding and easier to trim off. Now I have worked out that it needs to be this big, okay. Yeah, this would be the edge, the very edge. So I would sew, I've measured 1/4 of an inch. So it's, you want to either cut it on here and then sew on your 1/4 inch edge, or sew through your paper. That's the second time I've done that. Look, why have I got to do that? So on the 1/4 inch all the way round, and then cut it out and tear it out, tear your template off. That way you know that you're following a line. You haven't got to worry about it, okay. But as I only brought one lot of backing, I think we're going to go with the other one. Okay, so that's what I would do with that one. But as I don't want it to finish like that, if you don't have a clasp or anything, you could, like Sarah did yesterday with the book, the book cover, which I think is amazing. She did one with Velcro. So you could always just put a bit of Velcro on your thing. Right, this one, I decided I wanted it to, I wanted to have a different shape. Is this all making sense? Hiya Carol. This one here, I got the original template, went like that. This one I've drawn out. I want it to follow a different line. Okay. Now I've already backed this one with 60/30. Okay, and I want the backing to go in as well. So where are we? Like this. Now I'm using the same fabric that's on the inside of the bag, which is why I'm using this one. Now this needs to, you've got to think about what you're going to do when you flip it. This needs to go on the top, I think. Yeah, this needs to go right sides on here like that. So we're going to peel this back and put it in place, because I held it up to the light so that I could see. I meant to bring my light box so that you can see I've got a face on this, and I want it to stay central, so I don't want to move it too far. So we're going to put this on top like that. So if I put that like that, I'll fold that under there, and put that down, pin those on there. I hope I've got it right now, like that and like that. So you can see that you can make a different shaped flap, you know, a plique on there. You can do all sorts of things with it, just to jazz up a bag that you may have made. Oh, stuck it in my other finger now. That you may have made many times. Okay, so that one went down my nail. That did. It hurt. Right, so I'm going to come up here. I'm going to follow this line up. Like that. Just like that. Okay. Now, I want... Let's come right down to the bottom. So I'm going to sew on this line. And keep my fingers crossed that I'm doing it right. Okay, so we're going to go over here, if it's going to work. Hiya Karen, how are you? Is it warm with you, is it? That's lovely. Right, so I've left, oh, she's got Money Spider on her machine. She's going to make some money out of her sewing. I've got this, I've left a normal foot on because I'm going to follow my line, so I don't need to worry about it being what's the word? Can't say. I don't need to worry about it being 1/4 inch. Okay, so let's move this camera up a little bit. Has that worked? No, a little bit more. Just waiting for the camera to... The spider's just here. Oh, he's on my sewing now. Okay, so you can see where I am. So I'm just going to follow on the paper. Now, like I say, if you did it on stitch and tear, it would probably be quite good, because you could it would tear easier, but the paper should be okay. I've just used normal copy paper, okay, and I'm just following the outline that I roughly drew, just to give us a bit of a different outline. Now I've not made any I think I might have to change that. I've not made any sharp corners in this one because I find they don't turn out as well for me. Haven't quite got the knack yet. So just coming along here. I'm going to follow that going up. There we go. So I'm just going to check down the bottom because I was really close. That bit down the bottom, I want to bring my curve up a bit because I can feel it's right on the edge there, and I want there to be a bit more of a seam allowance. So we're just going to come around there. Not as sharp as I wanted it to be, but it'll do, pig, it'll do. Okay. Right, so you can see I've sewn roughly, very roughly, around on my template. So we're going to take these pins out. I don't know where. Oh, there they are. No, I've got every pair of scissors in Sarah's except for her crinkly ones. Never mind. Right. So we're going to be very careful, and I'm going to follow this around and pull off my paper template. Now I do this quite a lot with toys, is follow a template. I think we're going to have to go back in and just do that corner as well. With the toys, because quite often you're it's easier to sew it on a square and sew round, so that if you go slightly off pieced, it won't matter quite so much. So and circles, it's a lot easier to sew a circle on your larger piece of fabric than trying to make the circle work on a circular piece. Does that make sense? If you draw a circle out and sew it, it's easier to follow it when you're not worried about going off the lines. So I'm trying to take this page off. I think there we go. I'm just trying not to rip my stitches as well. That sounds painful, doesn't it? There we go. Right, this one is right on the edge as well, you can see there. So I'm just going to go back in before I turn it and cut it. I'm just going to go back here and just bring that corner up a little. So I start by there. That's it. Follow that line. Okay, so we're now going to cut around the edge. Now I would do this with pinking shears if I could. So just going to take 1/4 inch off like this. All the way round. So what have you all been up to? What were we doing last night? What did I do last night? Oh, Dave put a film on last night. A Tom Cruise film. Put it on the telly and then promptly went to sleep. And I listened to my book. It was just a waste of TV time. So, what have you got planned for this weekend? What are you watching on the telly at the moment? Because we're like now struggling for coming up with what we're going to watch next. There's my thing. I'm going to make sure that it's tall enough, really. So if I just take this off here. Like that. Okay, so we now have this nice odd shaped bag bits. So we're just gonna, on the curves that are sticking out, I'm notching it. Okay, and your curves in, you snip into it. Like that. This is why I would normally use pinking shears now, to save having to do all of this. You made the Josie bag in the class, did you? It's such a handy little size, it really is. We also do a messenger bag, which is very similar but bigger. And I keep saying I want to make it with Bosal, so that, because I think it's big enough for me to put my laptop in. So I think that would be quite good. Stick a couple of snips in there. This is not perfect, but you really have better things to do than watch me do this. Okay, so we're now going to turn this round the right way, and hopefully I've placed it. I bought a 1/2 metre of this fabric with the girls on, because I've seen other people make bags and things with it, and I love it. But it was cut really, the pattern doesn't run, that you get 2 lots in a you don't get 2 lots in a run, 2 lots of people. You cut in a bit off each, which is really bad planning as far as I'm concerned. I'm just pushing this out now, pushing all my corners out, and then we're going to roll the seams. Now, rookie mistake, I didn't bring a screwdriver either to open those tiny little screws so that I could put the bag clasp on. So that I would now iron that. It's not too bad, is it? Worked out quite well. Although I think my clasp is going to be right there, so might have to change the clasp for a what they called a magnetic one. So this now, I need to take these out. Let's take that off there. So our clasp is my insides there. This bag piece now, you want it to sit here, okay? So you're going to go through here and you're going to work out where on here you need to put your magnetic clasp. So you want to work out the middle of your bag. So that's there. You're going to work out the middle of that, and then also the middle of that, because you need to be putting it in the middle like that. So got that one there and that there. Okay, so there's our middles, and then you want to work out how much of this you need and where it's all going to sit. Okay, so it could probably have been a little wider, but you have to think that when it's full you don't want it too big either. Okay, so you're working out the middle of this, which is there. After the flood, oh yeah, they've started doing all these adverts, haven't they? So we're going to line that up there, our bag piece, and it would then be sewn in place on the back. Okay, so we're going to sew it in place on the back. Now I would probably sew it to baste it rather than rather than full seam allowance. Okay, I would baste that on there like that, and then this would then fold over like that. So before you sew it, you need to work out where you would put your magnetic clasp, and I think you can see my butterfly clasp, which I chose to go with the flowers, is going to come right where her mouth is, and I think that's going to ruin it. So I'm going to change that for a magnetic clasp after. You can get them where you sew them in place, or you're going to, they fix like this. Okay, the magnetic clasps are exactly the same. You need to make 2 little holes in your fabric, okay, and mark it where it's going to go, and the clasp will fit in there. Okay, so you either put your male piece of your magnetic clasp in the front, or you turn key on this one and then you put the female part into the lining where you want it to go. So you're going to work out, it's going to sit like that. So my female bit is going to sit there, which then when it closes it will just sit nice and neat. So once this is all sorted out, your clasp is all sorted out, you're then going to put your lining on the inside. No, you're going to work out where you want your bits. These, my anchors. Now my anchors, I want them to sit by here, like that. And I need to I'm not going to use the bag because I'm making it for me. I don't need it to be able to unclip and reclip. So I would baste those on there like that. Okay. And yes, baste those in place on there. And then when you're doing your putting it all together, you're going to pop the inside of your bag with all your pieces inside your lining, like that. I've left a hole in the bottom for turning out, and then you're going to go around it and stitch it all in place. Make sure all of your bits are inside all of that, and then when you're finished it's all going to pop out and your bag flap is going to sit down and your handles are going to come up. So basically what we were doing is looking at different bag flaps and how to change them. So you can, as long as you have a sheet of fabric, whether you've pieced it together, used your orphan blocks or whatever, and you have a template of how you want your bag flap to look like, you can make it anything you want. I did consider making it with red on the bottom, a roundish one, red on the bottom, well, normal template, red on the bottom, black on the top, and then 2 black ears. And I could use it as my going to Disney bag. Still might do that. I've still got time. I've got time to sew it. I'm not going out on Monday night. So the world is your mollusk once you sort all of that out. Okay. Hiya Melba, how you doing? I'm off. I'm going now. I'm hungry. I'm going to go and have my lunch. I always find it really hard on a Thursday because I'm always start to get hungry about 12:00, and I think, no, because I could be burping all the way through and you don't want that. Right, you've got Sarah all next week. We've got new stuff in the shop, so whether or not Sarah will come and show you this afternoon or whether she'll leave it and show you tomorrow morning, I don't know. I will see you, well, 2 weeks today, I suppose. I'll send pictures. I'll send pictures of us in Disney. I'll put them on the Gigglers. You have a wonderful weekend. Have a good week, and I will see you soon. Ta-ra.